Hello and welcome back to the Life in Our 20s podcast, a podcast where we talk about everything in your 20s. Thank you to everybody that listened to the last few episodes. I think there's two out right now. And thank you to those that participated in the poll and or the Q&A. Very much appreciated, and we will take those results into consideration for future episodes. For today's episode, we are going to be looking at hobbies. The reason that I chose to go over hobbies for today's episode is because I've recently been getting back into some of my old hobbies, and it got me thinking about why we even have hobbies in the first place. So, for me personally, hobbies are a massive, massive way that I communicate and kind of just hang out with people. It's a good way to socialize. Um, my personal hobbies are hiking, photography, and board games or card games. Um, I think at the moment, the biggest hobby that I have right now is probably writing, but I don't really include that under hobbies because it's it's a strange thing, the way that I do my writing, and it frustrates me more than relaxes me sometimes. So I don't really count it as a hobby. Um, but it is what has been taking up the majority of my time recently. Um, let's see. I think my favorite hobby, however, the one that I wish took up the most time was would be probably photography, but I'm still very new to it and I have to balance it with school. So looking for places to photograph or subjects to photograph is a bit difficult, given my schedule. Um, I'm trying really hard to figure that out though, because my camera has been just sitting in my camera bag, and that poor bag is collecting a lot of dust. But um, I think hobbies are a good way to forget about the current things in life, if that makes sense. A way to de stress yourself. So, for example, um, I have had a couple of friends that really, really enjoyed like running and going on long walks or hiking. And they describe it as like a sort of escape from reality for a little bit. And especially with hiking, you get to kind of reconnect with nature and just see these really cool views, and it makes you forget about what's going on in life. So I think that's a big reason why, if you go anywhere like on, for example, YouTube or Instagram, even TikTok, you see a lot of people sharing their hobbies online. And I think the big reason why, especially with the younger demographic, like I want to say teen to late 20s, early 30s, I think the biggest reason why that demographic shares so much about their hobbies is because it kind of sits there as a constant reminder for them that it's the thing that brings happiness into their lives, because they have so much pressure on them. They're adapting to the world, or they're just now like getting the hang of it, and it can be stressful. So they need a little bit of an escape to kind of think and reconsider things or just relax for a little bit, forget about the world's issues, and just enjoy yourself. And I think it's something that a lot of people my age in their 20s really need to do. They need to get a couple of good hobbies that they really enjoy and make sure that they have time for those hobbies. And what I mean by this is that if you make time for your hobbies, if you try to make time for your hobbies, you kind of become more productive at the same time and you value the time even more because you know that you don't have that much time to do those hobbies. And for me, I remember, I think especially during the whole lockdown thing a couple years back, one of my biggest hobbies was video games, but I was doing school online. My freshman year of college was completely online. So I think the biggest thing for me then was playing video games with my friends. That was like my big hobby, aside from, exercising because I had nothing else to do. So I would just exercise. Um, and I think it kind of helped in that situation to have a couple of hobbies because life was so mundane and boring and repetitive that you needed something to like spice things up a little bit or forget about what's going on in the world. There were a lot of people getting sick, a lot of people dying and stuff, people really close to my family and stuff too. And these hobbies kind of offered a little escape that, you know, allows you time to think, allows you time to process and reconsider and it's just very very helpful. And I think it's a strange thing because you when you're doing your hobbies, you kind of really do just forget about your surroundings and you're in the moment. And then once it's over, you kind of just go back to what you were doing and you're just kind of like, "Oh man, I got to get back to doing like my term paper or like, I have work tomorrow or something like that." And you kind of like get like this depressing feeling, but you know that you're going to have time again in the future if you manage your time correctly. And I think this comes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier. I got a little bit off topic. Um, where if you make time for your hobbies, you kind of become more productive because you try to get your daily tasks out of the way so that you can have time for your hobbies. And I think that makes it like a lot more like fulfilling when you do your hobbies because you worked for it. You worked hard for time to relax. And I think I don't know, there's something that like makes me feel accomplished when that happens. And I don't know, I feel like more people should adopt a couple of good hobbies. Um it's just very calming. And this brings me to my next little subtopic of sharing your hobbies with people, especially friends, because if you can bring somebody else into your hobby or join somebody else's hobby, for example, I have a friend that every once in a while will come over and we'll play card games or like board games, and we both really enjoy it. It's like the one thing that we for sure have in common, and it's really fun, to have somebody else there enjoy your hobby with you. And it's just this like connection that's always going to be there as long as both of you enjoy the hobby. And if my friends are anything like me, like super nerdy and stuff, they'll keep enjoying those hobbies. And it's just really cool to have something like that to fall back on if nothing else is going on in life and you kind of don't have an excuse to hang out with friends. You could always just say, "Hey, do you want to go do that one hobby that we both have. Like, do you want to play video games, or do you want to play a card game, or do you want to go and, like, do a quick little kind of photo shoot or something? Do you want to what's another good one? Like, do you want to go and, I don't know, bake together? Like that's probably interesting too. A cool hobby to have. Like, cook for each other and have each other like uh taste each other's like cupcakes or something like that. I don't know. I don't really bake, but you get what I'm saying. It's like really cool to have that connection there. And it's something that you could always fall back on. And I think personally I haven't had too many instances like that. The only one that I can remember is, I think maybe a year or two ago, I set up this kind of little mini trip with a couple of my friends. I really wanted to get into hiking. This is before I got into hiking. I really wanted to get into hiking, and I found this kind of not very well known trail in my area. And me and a couple of friends decided, hey, you know what? Let's give it a try and let's see how this goes. And enjoyed I enjoyed it like so much. And that got me super into hiking. And I looked for other trails nearby. I went on a couple by myself, but it's just not the same. Like you still enjoy it, but there's like a certain spark. Something clicks when you have people around with you. So I remember it, like, this trip didn't go as planned. There were a lot of things that kind of went wrong, but it was still enjoyable because my friends were there. And even if a couple of them weren't enjoying the trip per se, they still made an effort to be there and kind of, like, help me out during that time, because it was my first time hiking and I was kind of a little afraid to do it by myself. And having my friends there just made all the difference. And it also got me back into photography. I didn't have my camera then, but I still took a lot of pictures on my phone, and I kind of merged two hobbies together. So whenever I go on a walk or on a hike or something like that, I'll try to make sure to get a couple good shots, especially on hikes where you can take a very scenic hike and take some really cool and interesting pictures. And you can also have your friends take pictures of you, so you could share with like other friends and family and stuff. And I don't know, hobbies are just, it's something so amazing because there's so much wrong with the world, but hobbies are like a little portal into like your own world that just allows you to be you and enjoy it. Because I don't know if a lot of people agree with me on this, but when I'm out and about in public, I like, it's a little like depressing to kind of just be there, and honestly, just you're just kind of like floating around and existing, like, and you're just going about your day doing your day-to-day things, and it gets a little monotonous. It's a little boring sometimes. And hobbies are just so much fun. And I think it's something that a lot of people forget. um you grow up and you kind of outgrow some hobbies, but people should take more chances and like go back to those hobbies and try to see if they still enjoy them. Maybe they'll learn something about themselves, or maybe they'll have fun and go back to that hobby and, just kind of learn to relax a little bit, because everybody's so stiff nowadays. So I can definitely say with certainty. Oh gosh, I'll leave that in for you guys. I won't cut that out. I can say with certainty that having a hobby is it helps you mellow out a little bit, and it's just really a lot of fun. And I'll share a little something from that hiking trip because I did mention that it didn't go very well. Um, I think I planned it sometime like in the summer or something, and we were sweating buckets, and we kind of underestimated the steepness of the trail, or not even the trail. We were going up this hill, and we still hadn't gotten to the trail opening yet, and we were like exhausted already by that point. But like we're us being just pals, just being bros. We're like come on, dude, it's just a little bit like further ahead. Like we're almost there. We're probably almost there. And we eventually got to it. We didn't finish the whole trail, but like we saw some pretty cool views, and we saw a couple of I think they were called parasailers. Yeah, I think they're parasailers, not paragliders. And like it's just really cool to share that with friends. And like especially in that time, I had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't share everything with my friends, but there was some stuff going on behind the scenes, and I was going through a little bit of a rough patch. But having that little experience kind of gave me hope, and it just changed like my like perspective a little bit. That was like the first time that I sat there and I contemplated looking at that really good view, and I just thought to myself, I was like, these are the things that I need to do like whenever I get the chance, cuz it's like it's so much fun. You create these awesome memories, and it helps you kind of reset for the next week that you're going to have, right? So, it made me forget about everything. It helped me reset a little bit, and I made some really cool memories. So, I'll share a little bit. Um, I remember on the way up the hill, one of my friends almost fell down, and like we barely caught that person. We're like, "Oh dude, like calm down, like you almost fell down that hill." And when we were past the trail opening, the trailhead, coming on our way back down, it was getting dark, and we were like freaking out because that is like coyote territory. And like I don't know if coyotes would ever do anything to humans. I don't know if there's been incidents before. I don't really pay attention to that type of stuff. But I was freaked out. I was freaked out. I don't know if my friends were freaked out, but I was personally freaked out. I was like, we're going to see all these like coyotes running around and stuff cuz it's getting late. It's getting dark. Like let's get out of here. And on my way down, I slipped at like the top of the hill, and I just fell on my tailbone and just dragged for like I want to say like maybe 10 feet. And my friends, like being my friends, the first thing they do is laugh, and they're just like laughing so hard. And then they ask me, "Hey, are you okay?" And I can't walk. I like stand up. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, dude, that hurts so bad." And I remember like kind of limping all the way back. And we had a couple of friends that didn't want to go with us on the hike, um, because it's kind of a weird area, and there's no real good parking spot. So we parked in a kind of sketchy area, and they stayed back and they like took care of the cars and stuff. And like, even though they didn't go on the hike with us, like I still appreciate that they came with us, and like they like took care of the cars while we were gone. And they had to drive up like closer to like the trail to come pick us up because I was just exhausted, and I felt like I couldn't walk anymore. And I remember like for a week after that, I could not sit down. I just couldn't. Like I had a bruise from like my lower back all the way down to like probably just right above my knee, but like on the backside. And it just hurt so bad. And it was like this black purple bruise. But like, I had fun. And even though like it did, like things maybe didn't go exactly to plan, because we underestimated like how hard it was going to be, and we didn't pack enough water, and we were like starving cuz like none of like I think me and probably like one other friend forgot to like pack a snack or something, and we hadn't eaten, like, we ate lunch but like something light. So we're like just starving. Like it was very poorly planned, but it was fun, and I think that's all that matters. And it got me super into hiking, and I really want to get back into it and kind of recreate those experiences that I had with my friends, but even better, because now we have like prior experience, and now we can plan better and make sure that we don't like make the same mistakes that we did. And I think this is like the very core of like hobbies. It's like this gateway into having like these amazing experiences with people. Like you can connect with your friends, or you can connect with new people and make them your friends. Like, especially if you have some sort of hobby that's like popular, or something super niche. Because if it's something super niche, then the people that share that hobby are like super into it. And if you're super into it, you know that you're going to have a super fun time, because it's just like two people that just really, really enjoy the same thing in the same room. And you can talk for hours and hours and hours about it. And I think that's like really just amazing that two strangers can just bond over something that they both happen to like, and then like become the best of friends. Because it's like so hard to have fun, especially when you're broke and in your 20s like me. So you find any way to have fun and like experience new things. I think hobbies are like the best thing to do, because I've met like probably three people so far, hopefully more in the future, that are like super into photography. And I'm not super into photography. I'm still new to it. But they like listening to them talk about their hobby is like the most fun thing ever. And I learn so much from it. And it starts getting me super into photography. And it's just an amazing experience to listen to somebody that is kind of well versed in their hobby, and like super, super, and I mean just super into it. It's like you see like this like kind of inner child come out, and you're just listening to them like rant about this thing and how good it is. And it's just so much fun. And I know I'm being like super repetitive here, but there's no other way to put it besides it's just fun. And it's something that we need more of, because I'm just going to be honest and say, like, whenever I go around my college campus, there's two groups of people that I usually see, like two categories you can fall into. The people that are just like super bright and like bubbly, and the others that are just kind of like, oh, I just want to get this day over with. I'm exhausted. I want to do this. I don't want to do that. And whenever I talk to a person from like the super bubbly group, they're always going on and on about like, oh, like last Friday I went on like, a trip with my friends, and like, we did this or that. Like, for example, like, oh, we went kayaking or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And you can tell that like they had fun, and it kind of sits with them for a little bit, and they can get through the week, because like, it's on their mind. They're like, yeah, well, life is tough, but like there's these cool things that we can do, these like hobbies that I can do that kind of like, make me forget about everything. And that other group, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably fell under that group for a long time. The other group of like people that are just sitting there waiting for like the day to end. They're just so like out of it. And I feel like they just need a hobby. They just need a hobby, man. Like a hobby would help so much. And who knows, maybe they do have a hobby, but they just don't have time to do it. And I understand that like life gets in the way and sometimes you need to put your hobbies on hold. But when you do get the chance to like go out, jump at it and do it because you don't know when you're going to be able to do it again. And it's going to help out so much. It's going to clear your mind and you're going to like de-stress a little bit, do a little detox, and then just like, prepare for the next week or the next day, because we need everything. Like we need all the help that we can get, and hobbies are a big help. And I know that, again, I'm being a little repetitive, but bear with me. I'm still new to this, talking into a microphone. Hopefully it sounds a lot better than last time. I'm not really sick anymore, and I think I've been able to fix this microphone issue that I had. So hopefully it sounds good. And I've been practicing. I sound like a lunatic talking to my microphone when it's not even recording. But I've been practicing, like just talking by myself to you guys listening. I'll be driving in my car and just talking to myself, pretending like I'm hosting a podcast. So hopefully this sounds a little bit more natural than last time. I've been putting a lot of work into this. And I just, I gotta wait and see how this goes. And I hope that you guys enjoyed what I had to say about hobbies. Thank you again to everybody that listened to the last 2 episodes. I will probably have another Q&A or another poll under this episode, so I'll have a couple of questions for you guys, and I'd like to see what you guys have to say about hobbies, whether you agree with me or not, or whether or not I missed anything, because nobody's perfect. I miss a lot of things. I'm very ADHD, so yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I am trying really hard to keep my promise of uploading twice a month. I think it's going to be possible as long as I manage my time correctly. I have to take some of my own advice from the last episode. But I think it's manageable. I thought it would be a lot more complicated to manage everything, but jumping into this finally kind of opened my eyes a little bit and gave me a little bit more confidence to try a little harder. And even if I fail, I'll just try harder next time. I was so afraid of failing, but now it's just like I'm already doing it, so I have to do it, and there's people listening now, so there's more pressure. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys had fun listening, and I'll leave the episode here. So with that, till next time.